Hey everyone, welcome. Let's just jump right into this explainer and build up our mathematical toolkit for making sense of messy, real-world data. Today we're basically acting as mathematical detectives. Now in your textbooks, you usually get a perfect function to graph, right? Or maybe a really neat set of points that are totally guaranteed to lie on a flawless curve. But nature, biology, human behavior, yeah, they rarely give us perfection. So how exactly do we handle that?
Well, here is the core issue. Real life rarely happens in perfectly straight lines, so we have to find the curve of best fit. Just think about it, a cooling cup of coffee, the rapid spread of a juicy rumor, or the changing atmospheric pressure outside. None of these behave in a simple, flat line. If we want to accurately predict the future based on these phenomena, we need mathematical equations that actually mirror their unique, curved behaviors. We don't expect every single data point to lie perfectly on our line. Instead, we're zooming out and looking for the overall trend.
Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover the power of regression, dive into exponential, logarithmic, and logistic models, and then we'll wrap up with a crucial warning about the danger of extrapolation. Let's get to it.
All right, Section 1, the power of regression. Let's get our foundational vocabulary locked in before we look at any crazy formulas.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that regression analysis isn't just about perfectly connecting dots like a children's puzzle. It's about finding the model that best approximates a real-world situation. And hey, please don't let the word model confuse you. In math, we use terms like function, equation, and model completely interchangeably. But when we specifically say model, we're signaling that this equation is doing its absolute best to approximate a messy reality. It's an educated, mathematically rigorous estimation.
Now, this concept perfectly illustrates how we actually grade our mathematical models. When you run a regression, your calculator is going to give you an R-squared value. We call this the coefficient of determination. Basically, the closer this value is to a perfect 1, the more accurate your model's predictions are going to be. So, an R-squared of 0.97, you can be highly confident in that. But if it's hovering closer to 0.5, your data is probably pretty scattered and your model might be a bit unreliable.
Take a moment to reflect on this physical process on your graphing utility, because this is literally how you turn raw data into a workable equation. First, you clear your lists and input your independent values, your x's, in L1, and your dependent values, your y's, in L2. Then, you look at the scatter plot. I can't stress this enough. This visual step is incredibly important. By just looking at the shape those little dots make, you decide which type of regression to ask the calculator for. Once it spits out the equation, you just graph it right over your scatterplot to visually verify that, yep, it's a good fit.
Moving right along to Section 2. Now that we've mastered the basics, let's pull out our first tool, exponential growth without bounds.
Check out how this formula actually behaves. If b is greater than 1, growth starts out kind of slowly, but then it accelerates rapidly without bound. That is classic exponential growth. Think compounding investment portfolios or completely unchecked populations. But on the flip side, if b is a fraction sitting between 0 and 1, we get exponential decay. That's like a cooling object or radioactive material, where the drop is incredibly fast at first and then it levels off, getting closer and closer to 0 but never quite reaching it.
We can see this unbounded acceleration in real life by looking at a fascinating, if a bit scary, 2007 study comparing blood alcohol content, or BAC, to the relative risk of crashing a car. Just look at these numbers. The risk doesn't just go up by a steady, flat amount for every drink you have. From a BAC of 0 to 0.05, the risk barely creeps up. But wow, look what happens when we go from 0.15 to 0.21. The relative risk completely explodes from 22 times more likely to nearly 100 times more likely to crash. That is the terrifying reality of exponential growth.
So, by applying exponential regression to that exact data, we can calculate that a 160-pound person is precisely 26.35 times more likely to crash after 6 drinks. How on earth did we get that specific number? Well, we took our raw data, ran an exponential regression on the calculator, and generated a formula. A 160-pound person having 6 drinks hits a BAC of roughly 0.16. When we substitute 0.16 for x in our regression equation, the output is approximately 26.35. The model literally takes our raw observations and gives us actionable, life-saving predictions.
All right, let's move to our second tool in Section 3, logarithmic models, which feature a rapid start and a slow finish. In a logarithmic model, growth or decay accelerates incredibly fast at the very beginning, but then steadily, predictably slows down over time. It is essentially the exact inverse behavior of the exponential model we were just looking at. And honestly, you see this everywhere in nature and physics. The intensity of sound,
the pH levels of solutions, or, here's a fun one, the growth of infants. Babies grow astonishingly fast in their first few months, right? But then that growth rate rapidly tapers off.
A perfect real-world analogy for this is human life expectancy over the 20th century. It jumped massively due to early medical advances, but it's now slowing down as we reach the upper limits of aging. Just look at the massive leaps from 1900 to 1960. We gained decades of life expectancy very quickly thanks to vaccines, antibiotics, and just better sanitation in general. But notice the gap between 1990 and 2010. We only gained about 3 years. The progress is steadily slowing. If we enter this into our calculator using logarithmic regression, we can predict that by the year 2030, average life expectancy will sit somewhere around 79.1 years.
Which brings us to Section 4. Now that we understand rapid starts, what happens when growth hits a hard physical ceiling? Welcome to logistic models.
Logistic functions actually model resource-limited exponential growth. That means they factor in physical limitations like a lack of living space or nutrients. See, exponential models assume infinite space and infinite food. But in reality, nothing can grow forever. Eventually, a spreading disease runs out of susceptible people to infect. A rumor runs out of people who haven't heard it yet. A stain in a fabric literally runs out of threads to bleed into. Logistic regression beautifully models this natural reality.
We call this limit the carrying capacity, or simply C. Think of the carrying capacity as a physical ceiling that the data can get closer and closer to but never truly punch through. The function increases rapidly at first, hits a point of maximum growth rate, and then the brakes just get applied. The curve bends and levels out into a flat horizontal line right beneath this ceiling. Now, I know this logistic formula looks a little bit intimidating at first glance, but let's just break it down. That C sitting right on top of the fraction, that's your absolute limit, the carrying capacity we just defined. The denominator simply dictates how the curve bends as time represented by x moves forward. Your graphing utility handles all the heavy lifting of calculating A, B, and C, but your job as the student, the human in the loop, is to actually understand what that C means in the real world. A fascinating example of this is mobile phone adoption in America. It started out kind of slow, completely exploded in the early 2000s, and is now leveling off purely because almost everyone already has a phone. Back in 1995, only about 12% of the population had a cell phone. By 2003, it's skyrocketing past 55%, but by 2012, it's sitting at 98%. It physically cannot keep growing exponentially. There are virtually no more people left to buy phones. It has hit its carrying capacity.
But here's where it gets funny. When you run a logistic regression on the cell phone data, the calculator spits out a carrying capacity of 105.7. It's just blindly crunching numbers. But your logic tells you that over 100% of a population having service is literally impossible. You can't have more than everybody. If the model were truly exact to reality, C would be exactly 100, and the actual outputs would hover just below it, because there's always going to be a tiny fraction of the population completely off the grid.
And that perfect little calculator error brings us to our final section. Section 5, the danger of extrapolation.
So while we can safely interpolate within the data we have, extrapolating too far into the future is incredibly dangerous because real-world conditions inevitably change. Interpolation is pretty safe. If you have data for 1990 and 2000, using your model to guess the value for 1995 is highly reliable. Extrapolation, however, that's making a blind leap into the dark. It assumes that the exact same conditions that existed when the data was originally gathered will just magically continue to exist indefinitely.
So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Can we actually trust these models indefinitely? Formulas are undeniably powerful tools, but they require the detective work of human reasoning to truly make sense of the world. We just saw how exponential models foolishly assume infinite resources and how logistic calculators can confidently predict totally impossible percentages. Mathematical regression gives us incredible power to make sense of a chaotic universe, but remember, the calculator is only as smart as the person holding it. Always check your model against common sense, verify your carrying capacities, and be extremely careful when predicting too far into the unknown. Keep analyzing, keep graphing.